Hey everybody, I'm McL0v1n. I like long walks on the beach, and oh, this is a different talk, but we'll get this going. Everybody can hear me all right? Give me an emoji, like a hand or something. Sounds good, because I was having mic issues earlier. So this will be, there's some time for this talk, so we have I left a little bit of space here for issues that we had earlier, so we'll get this going. Let's go there. Now that's not working like I wanted it to. All right, let's do it this way then. Speaker. There we go. All right, this is called Defending the Vatican in Minecraft, but it's mostly because I didn't have really good, a better name for it. So here we go. Now, as I have to say with these things, no here, but you know, my views are my own. They don't reflect any organization that I'm with. This is, you know, or I'm associated with. Normally I wouldn't care because I have my own little consulting firm. So yeah, my views are totally my own, but now I'm dealing with outside organizations. Also, a little Latin phrase down here, which generally just means anything said in Latin seems profound. All right, what kind of talk is this? This talk is not a religious talk at all. I mean, there may be some things that relate to the church here, but this isn't religious, this isn't church. I don't represent any sort of religious organization. I'm just a tech guy who happens to be a gamer. The server that we're going to be talking about was the brainchild and idea of somebody who just happens to be a priest, who's a big guy in the like kind of tech space. It just happens to be a priest. But so, you know, there's nothing to do with this. Here we go though. A little bit of me. Woo! So I spent, before I got into all right. All right, welcome back. You're muted, by the way. Yeah, I'm working on it. Trying to unmute you here. There we go. Yeah, everybody's streaming from home. Everybody's watching Netflix. It's a Saturday. They can't leave the house. So, of course, we can't freaking get decent internet, especially when it's being clogged. So let's do this. Just a little bit about me, guys. I am a tech consultant. Before that, I was doing IT for the DoD for 10 years. and then I've done odd jobs here and there. As one of the guys I work with says, if anybody knew how this stuff worked, sometimes they wouldn't believe it worked at all. So connection issues, of course. So let me get this back up. Live. Boom. There we go. Boom. All right. So, I was an IT consultant. I'm also the VP of IT of a company out in Hawaii that's currently shut down right now because, they had to close all their stores and I'm furloughed. So lovely. But I'm a specialist in infrastructure and I have an emphasis on security. And I say emphasis, I don't consider myself a security expert or a security specialist. I'm just an enthusiast. I will never be as good as I want to be. So I'm sure a lot of us have that imposter syndrome, but you can't have imposter syndrome if you know your crap. I'm also work on the DC Darknet, which is a contest and community at DEF CON. It's about teaching and through think of it as kind of a beginner CTF, but a lot of what we call them quests are a lot of what we call quests are just, you have to get a flag, but it's meant to teach you. So it says, hey, go here, look at this, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing a lot of mesh networking lately. I have a white paper out there that I just need to get fixed, and dealing a lot with the high performance GPU acceleration space lately. Mostly because that's just what a lot of the big data guys are doing. We're doing stuff with NOAA, we're doing stuff with, I can't say them. Doing a bunch of data just storage and analyzing. So it all started with a tweet. Father Ballecer, also known as PadreSJ, you guys, some of you may know him if you listen to podcasts or follow any of the follow or watch Twit, This Week in Tech, or any of that stuff. He put out a tweet saying, hey, guys, I want to start up a game server, try to make it non-toxic. Notice how Rust is on there, and he's trying to make a non-toxic game server. But anyway, trying to make a non-toxic, and the majority voted for Minecraft. So here, I pretty much said, hey, man, I run a small, little R&D cloud for HPC stuff. So, I got you. I'll set something up. So, I started up just a little Minecraft server just for him, his friends, just kind of get something going. Just a little bit about Padre. He's born and raised in Silicon Valley. Was really this dude was a big name out there. Before he, finished his undergrad work and then decided to join the priesthood. We, so in specifically the Jesuit order. And for those of you, just to throw any misconceptions about what the conspiracy theories about them, those guys are pretty much about 1, serving others, and 2, education. And that's pretty much it. Back in the 1400s, they try to tell them that they're trying to rule the world and got disbanded, all that good stuff. But now he's currently posted Vatican doing administration. Just so where this guy works right now, he works down the hallway from the freaking Pope. He just talks with him all the time. Oh, hey, hold on, Papa Francis rolled by. Let me go say hello, or blah blah blah. So he just sees him on a normal basis. So from that, we had one server, and nope, let me bring this down here real fast. There we go. There we go. We got one, so I can see this. We got one server, just little virtual machine, 2 CPUs, 4 gigs of RAM, nothing special. Just running on Linux, vanilla Minecraft, whatever the newest one that came out was, because I hadn't done any Minecraft or done any modding in a long time. Didn't touch Bucket or Spigot or Paper. If any of you guys know what those, we'll get into those a little later. I just spun up just a standard vanilla Minecraft server. And then for protection just stuck up on IP tables firewall. Hey, I love IP tables, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Then this happened. Freaking Rome Reports got hold and wanted to ask him about this game server that he was spinning up. Then after Rome Reports got it, Game Informer, IGN, like everybody got wind of it, and we are just getting flooded with traffic. And, you know, both good and bad traffic. And then people immediately try to hop in, DDoS it just right away. Oh, God. Those first 2 weeks, I aged more in my life than I have any other time. I feel like an old man now. So it was just flooded. I had to do whatever I can just to keep this bad boy online. Like, we had to move servers back and forth between a couple servers to see which one was more stable. Turns out it was a lot of things that went wrong, and not from the actual like infrastructure that the servers hosted on, but just within configuration of the box itself. Like it could not stay up. Like, it would come up for a little bit and it would crash. It would come up for a little bit and then it would crash. And when I say a little bit, I'm not even saying an hour. It was down pretty darn quickly. There was, we did see a lot of people actually hopping into the box, and it was just flooded. Because back in the day when I was running Minecraft servers, I could get 100 people on the server, no problem, easy. But now, you know, with things came out, it just wasn't the best. It couldn't handle, you know, with all the updates that are going on with Minecraft. Like, remember when it used to be just a basic game, really easy, you can run, no big deal. You could run it on almost any hardware, and now you can't run it solo without having 4 gigs of RAM. The box just couldn't do it. So what I did was I had to hop in there and I stuck up a firewall. Just basic virtual machine, proper firewall. I'm a huge fan of pfSense because I love open source. pfSense does a great, and there's a plugin for it called Suricata. And as you saw earlier, GPU accelerated stuff. Suricata is essentially GPU accelerated snort. So you can process packets a whole lot faster. So on the firewall, one of the things that you can do, I mean, for some sort of DDoS protection, you can do rate limiting in your IP tables. You can allow only so many connections per second from a specific source. You don't want to do it from multiple sources because now you're blocking legitimate traffic too. And then we upgraded the server, 16 gigs of RAM and 6 vCPUs. Still running Linux, but then a couple things that I discovered. There used to be back in the day, there was Craft Bucket, and that's what I remember using. Since then, there was an evolution of modded Minecraft servers, vanilla-ish Minecraft servers. It was Bucket, then it became Spigot, and now we're using Paper. Paper is a specifically performance-based Minecraft server. And then you go in and adjust the settings to use this right amount of RAM, the right amount of Java settings. And you really have to do your performance settings in Minecraft itself because it's a single-threaded game. There's really not much you can do for like hyper-threading or whatnot. It's all based on that CPU. So now the CPU we're using is pretty much, if you go out and find a hoster, this is the CPU that they're using. It's a Intel E5 2690 version 2, which is really good when you're talking about Xeon servers, not talking about you're sitting at home and you're gaming with an Intel I series. Or lately, the AMD stuff has had better single-thread performance. Also, version 12.2 is what we went back to because apparently, and as this was all happening, I was absorbing so much information. So we had people come into the Discord who knew about running Minecraft servers a little better. They said, hey, 1.14 has issues with multiplayer. Like, it slows down, it bogs down. So we backed off to multiplayer. Or backed off to 1.12.2. So we were able now to actually get something like a little bit of the better tweaks instead of just boom, here's a Linux box, boom, here's a Minecraft server. And my hand's floating over here simply because my left controller battery died. All right, don't need it. So from there, for me, you know, if I'm going to set up even just a firewall and a box behind it, I got to go into it a little bit. So now we're looking at proxying. And these slides didn't come over from PowerPoint very well, so I don't have any animations. So you just get all the information as it appears. So you can proxy with HA proxy, and with Minecraft it works great, works fine. For just getting into it, can proxy TCP for Minecraft. The only issue is that Minecraft can't support the proxy protocol, which when you're using TCP, what proxy protocol does is it passes the source IP from the client to the Minecraft box. So now, when HA proxy, you can't ban by IP because all the IPs everyone sees are coming from the HA proxy box, since it's not passing that original source information. Enter bungee cord. What bungee cord is, it's a proxy specifically made to proxy Minecraft connections. It's great. It accepts the proxy protocol, so I can put this behind HA proxy, and it'll work great. So I can have multiple bungee cord servers. Which means that now I can block by IP, and the bungee cord box is the one that's dealing with the incoming connections on the public-facing Minecraft port, which it's meant to do. So but what I can also do is, if you notice this, I can link multiple servers together without having to reconnect for the client to reconnect. So if I connect somewhere, boom, join the server, and I want to swap between servers, it's seamless. It just pops me into the other one automatically. We'll come over to that later because I really like that. And you'll see stuff like Hypixel out there online using stuff like that to create whole universes. So now here's what we have. We're sitting with a firewall. We've got the rate limiting going. We've got bungee cord. Just a standard like proxy server. Like for normal HA proxy, I would just use a 2x2 box because it doesn't need that much for the amount of traffic, amount of traffic that it can like proxy connections through, because it's just connections. It's not processing data. So what we're doing is, but with this, we want that 4 gigs of RAM because just in case. But what we're doing is there's other forks of bungee cord which also help with performance a little bit and help with doing some exploit prevention. Now, right now, this says waterfall fork out here because generally going that far down, people don't recognize bungee cord, let alone the waterfall fork. We're actually a couple layers deeper. We're actually from the waterfall fork was forked another project called Travertine, which forked another project called Flamecord. And Flamecord has some built-in exploit protection that I would normally use plugins for on standard Minecraft. And then IP tables firewall, and then here's our standard server again, running the standard running our paper performance Minecraft with IP tables firewall as well. So nothing can pass in and out of here without, the say so. We're up, we're online. Like I can breathe a little bit now and I can like not worry except for, people coming in and trying to ruin the experience for everything else. I don't have to check my phone every 2 minutes. I can check it every hour or two. Because of this, we started getting a growing community on Discord, a community in the game. We're able to start talking with each other, and I don't have to deal with worried about server issues as much. I still have to do it. And now where I can actually communicate with the people coming in and playing. I had to go out and start picking admin and, dealing with the kind of community that looked at the server as a Minecraft server, as a Vatican server. They assume it's the Vatican server, not just some server some guy wants to spin up. We get a lot of the wrong type of people coming in. So when I had to pick admins, I had to make sure that they were moderate. They were like, you know what, man, we accept everybody here. There's no reason for any kind of discrimination or hate. Just just people aren't being rude, and I'm really toning my language here because, you know, I have a foul mouth. So like people, you know, not being rude, and they're not hurting other players, we're good to go. Speaking of which, you know, we're still at this point, we're still fighting trolls. I mean, to this day, we're still fighting trolls, and we're still fighting rat trads. People who come in as like, yes, finally a Christian server, and anybody who doesn't believe in God, we hate them. Blah blah blah. I freaking hate. Those are the worst people. Them and oh gosh, I just couldn't deal with it. It was a lot. It was a lot, and I was straining my mental capability. But we're online, and what's the best part of having a community? The memes. Oh, the memes will come later. But but now here's our player analytics from week 1, because we have a plugin that analyzes them. Within that first week, we had, and this doesn't show all the countries here because I don't have I lost the data that I had, the grabs I had from that time. But we had a couple thousand players rolling within that first week, and we were just having problems. Like, it was rough to deal with server stability issues. It was slow. People are still trying to attack us. So, you know, that we're still going down like every, let's say 1 to 2 hours-ish, because everybody wants to attack and everybody wants to hop in. So it's still legitimate and illegitimate traffic. By week 2, oh my goodness. You see the difference there? See the difference between week 1 and week 2? Hold on, here. Look, in the US alone, 411, and then Poland, 200, to almost 3,000 players. And then Poland hopped up to 750. 3,000 players from the US alone. The Discord server was swamped. The server was swamped. Like, we had people just couldn't get in, and they were complaining, hey, is the server down? I can't get in. I mean, yeah, there's a chance it's down because we're getting swamped, but at the same time, it's full. Just read the message. Just like any IT people say to the users, hey, you know, my browser's not working. Well, what did the error say? Well, no, it's just not working. Just read the message, please, please. And then by week 3, 4,000 from the US, and then we added 1,300 from Brazil. Immediately overtook Poland, and we'll see why that number skyrocketed out of nowhere here shortly.
It looks like he's having some difficulties. There we are. It looks like he's having some difficulties here at the moment. We'll give him a second. He'll probably be right back. I'm sorry about the issues here. I'm sure he is too. But we all know how challenging this can be. There you are. Welcome back. Let me make sure that you got the permissions real quick, because that's probably a problem. Hold on for me. All right, McL0v1n, hang tight. Thank you so much for being patient. There you go. All right.
Sorry about that.
For being patient.
Was that just me, or was that everybody?
That was you, buddy.
Yep, I'm having issues over here, which is funny because, you know, this never happens until you really need it. So the memes that came out of this were actually pretty darn good. This is my favorite part about a community. Like, there was a certain point where we just had to tell people, hey, you know what? Just go to Discord and just talk to us there, because it's hard to deal with all these issues inside the game. There was also a lot of memes about me that people didn't like, or that weren't exactly flattering, because I was banning people. Like, hey, you're being a jerk. Sorry, I'll kick you for a little bit. Like, early on, it became, I'm just start carpet banning, like ban, swinging the hammer. You get a ban. You ban. Everybody gets a ban. It was beautiful. I don't really mean that it was beautiful, but you know. So the memes were good, and the community was started growing. We had a huge amount of people. So, tag the YouTubers. Now, then this is where the those huge amount of Brazilian players came in, because Pork and BR is a well-known Portuguese-speaking YouTuber. I think he's from Brazil. I wasn't too sure. I just knew he spoke Portuguese, and we suddenly got an influx of 2,000 Portuguese speakers, and none of my admins spoke Portuguese, or my mods. We're like, what the hell is going on? Like, we don't know any of this. I mean, I could type Spanish because my family is originally from Spain, and they could understand, but I can't understand Portuguese. Like, everybody we had spoke Polish and English. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. So, no, and YouTubers are cool. They help with the community. They're kind of like the press, but for gaming. But except for some YouTubers who are known to have a toxic fan base. Here's Fit here. If you watch his video, he immediately comes in and starts hacking, runs around. And at the end of his video, he was like, what? I applaud Padre for trying to do this, trying to make a good, trying to make a toxic-free server. But this dude knows his community is toxic. So he comes in, and so immediately, as soon as his video posts, within the first hour, it's 10,000 views. This is as of yesterday, was the 1.2 million views. He knows his community is going to go over to that server and crash it. Like, what's going to happen when you do a kind of video like this. So we got DDoSed to the nether. Like, this is we're as it says here, they're crafting on a budget. We're trying not to use as many resources as we could. All the server space was donated. Decent server specs, but like, we had a persistent DDoS stream every hour on the hour for about 15 minutes, where I couldn't even get in to admin the box itself. Because what happens with a DDoS? Yeah, IP tables limiting kind of helps, but your box still has to process that traffic when it comes in. So it is overloading your CPU regardless. So, and it wasn't too much. It was 1.2 gigapackets per second. So like any of the major corporations could have handled that. So, Padre went out, was like, we are getting DDoS, trying to reach out to Cloudflare to see what we can do, whatever. Now, if you see his reply, it was Matthew Prince. Matthew Prince is the CEO of Cloudflare. Like, when this came around, this was 3:19 in the afternoon. I believe this was a Sunday. Like, he got a hold of him on a Sunday, talked stuff out, and the next day we were greenlit for Project Galileo, which is essentially Cloudflare services but free. Because now Cloudflare has gosh, what was it? I think it's their Spectrum service, where you can proxy TCP streams, and it's compatible with proxy protocol. So now what we did is now we have Cloudflare sitting in front of all of our IP addresses, doing DDoS protection for all of this Minecraft traffic coming in, and then it's outputting proxy protocol, so we can still get those source IPs and banned by IP. And holy crap, it saved our butts, because now we can stay online and not worried about being DDoSed. So now, since then, we never had a standard DDoS problem, thanks to this whole network right here. Now our server can flourish. We've got people are coming in and building just gorgeous stuff. Like, when I play Minecraft, I don't really go for aesthetics, because I'm not a designer. I'm a tech guy. I have no art ability whatsoever. Like, even with instruments, I can play what other people play. I could never write my own stuff. Like, these people come in and they're building just beautiful landscapes, awesome towns. I had some other town screenshots in here, but I couldn't seem to find them. But they're coming in and they're like, and a lot of these are builders and using schematics and whatever, but a lot of these are hand done. And it was amazing. So now we've got a community going. We've got people we've gotten mods in there to help grief protection, things like Townie, which has some issues that needs to be worked out, but it's specifically because of the version of Minecraft we're using. It's the older version. People are starting to divide into like little villages and towns. Where's my, did it switch? There it goes. We had somebody built a trans road. We had like giant British, Polish flags, like German flags. We had people from all over hopping into the server and just building these amazing things. And it was beautiful. And then, eventually this happens. Wait, this? No. Is this more pictures? There we go. Yeah. Like they roll off into the sunset, and start building little places that kind of remind me of like Radiator Springs, little towns in the middle of nowhere, but they still kind of try to make a road to get there. That's what this little patch of ground here. So everybody can just sprawl off. The issue with with having an open world like that, where you just let them randomly generate, is called block or chunk generation, where the more chunks that have to be generated, unless you preload them ahead of time, it causes server lag. So we had to pre-gen eventually and bring everything down into a smaller area. That way it was already generated and people can go places that were already loaded. But the towns were just going out anywhere. Now, dealing with exploits, in-game exploits, there are things people do to try to cheat. They want to find the diamonds, they want to stay alive, they want quality of life things that are still considered exploitation because, for example, there's a water walking. It's like the point of water is not for you to walk across. You have to swim across it. It's a challenge. People using speed hacks to run places faster, item duplication. So once they get their hands on diamonds, they just start duplicating it and handing it out to everybody. Now, these hacked clients send packets to the server that are they overload the server a little bit. So it kind of slows it down because they're sending more packets than normal. Also, there are specific clients out there that are known that have exploits built into them that do send a kind of signature, so that we have plugins here, kind of like hacked server, protocol lib. It's stuff that can detect these kind of clients and they stop that traffic from happening, so that people can, it'll help, maintain server stability, and then help not just prevent those exploits, but with things like hacked server, it'll kick them out of the game altogether with the proper settings. And then with the mods, we had mods watching people, and then early on, they said, hey, don't hack in the server, we'll ban you. And the guy just says, hey, do you need me to X-ray? Yeah. All right, we'll see you later, man. Now, the trolls were the hardest part for me. Simply because it exhausts my mental capability. It's not something technical. It's something I have to deal with on a personal level. And, I used to be great dealing with people, and then, things happened at the last job, and now I'm okay. Now we've got the trolls. The normal trolls usually just come in to cause havoc. They just want attention. They're like, oh, I'm going to go ruin somebody's good time. They come in, just start cussing. They start spamming like God hates whatever. That way they can kind of pretend to be part of the next group. Or they should say, hey, you all suck. They spam it. They just want attention. They just want to ruin somebody's time. And that way they can just say, hey guys, I just went and trolled the Vatican's Minecraft server. Which, as I said earlier, is not the Vatican's Minecraft server. It's just a server. But then you get these rad trads. These are the radical traditionalist people who are Bible-thumping God people who they come in there and they start telling people they're sinners and that they're going to go to hell because maybe they're gay or maybe they're Jewish or whatever. And these are the worst. And I notice they get really angry when you start quoting the Bible against them. So it's like saying, somebody says oh, God hates this. Does God really hate though? Yeah. So if he really hates, does that mean he only loves you with conditions? Sounds like an abusive relationship. And then they all start getting angry and blah, 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 you guys are facts, blah, blah, blah. And then I have to ban them. I'm like, all right, that was fun. But now we've grown a huge amount of mods and admins that I don't have to sit there and do it myself. I can depend on these guys because these guys were picked based on their behavior, how we saw them interact with other players, and especially their interactions when they were under duress, like players attacking them, dealing with things. So we've got a huge amount of mods, and I don't have to deal with that anymore. Well, I mean, I still kind of do, but it took a whole ease off my back. That way, I don't have to worry about doing that, which was 75% of my time. I can go back to server stability, which is dealing with hackers, dealing with making sure the server's staying online. Because a lot of the things that we had to deal with was with the amount of people coming in, we had TPS drops and lag. So now we're a victim of our own success. TPS is ticks per second. This is how it's a tick-based game, which means things run on a timer. There are 20 ticks per second, and you want 20. Because if you have less than 20, something's going on your server that's processing more than it's supposed to. Above 16 is playable. Below is bad. You got to figure out what's going on, what's wrong. And again, it's a single-threaded game. So if you're running an older CPU that can't do that single-thread performance, it's pure about gigahertz and it's pure about speed. That's going to hurt you. RAM, you saw we had to up our RAM because we got a whole bunch of people coming in. Even solo, like on your home computer, you can't play it with less than 4 gigs of RAM allotted to that Java instance. We noticed that we had to max player count at 50. Anything above that, the server started crashing quite a bit. We're still getting DDoSes, but they're not in the traditional sense. They're trying to, they're still trying to get through, but they're trying to get through by hitting through the game server, logging in and hitting it itself. And then, plugins can cause a whole bunch of, I just almost kicked my space heater. Plugins can cause a whole bunch of lag too. Now that's where we noticed was a lot of our lag came from plugins. They use flat files by default. And these are, if you see what we have here, we have thousands of changes that it's tracking per minute. And so Core Protect, like each single block, like you go mine a piece of dirt out of the ground, that's a block. It logs what changed, what's been changed for the past however many changes, who did it, when it was, and that's every block in the server, every single block. So you get a bunch of people on there and they just start mining and building to their heart's consent. That's a lot of data, and it was logging it to a flat file. E-commerce, the commerce, where we had to get it. So it was a way for us to prevent players from coming in, building something, and just bailing out and leaving their stuff there. Anti-grief protection won't touch it. So this allowed us to allow, like, hey, this guy hasn't been on in like 3 months. Their stuff will start to go away. But that stuff had to log into a database either. And all of these plugins were built for MySQL or MariaDB. Some of them were Mongo, but I'm used to using MySQL for like little things, and I couldn't use Postgres because none of them were set for Postgres. But the SQL wasn't enough. Like, I'm not used to standard SQL servers outside of just WordPress site or running, just running little web apps here and there that I need to spin up. I'm used to these GPU accelerated databases like MapD or OmniSci. So I had to upgrade it twice because there was so much data going to the SQL servers that it couldn't handle it. Like, I tried load balancing, but again, if you're going to load balance in an active cluster, your applications need to be aware of what it's load balancing with. That it's being load balanced. It's got to do the lock transaction check, things like that. And these plugins were just, oh, you know what? I want to make a plugin that takes care of this. They weren't looking at that back end. So now, this was become the start of January. We were getting 900 new players a day. We had thousands of players playing, and then we had like 3,000 regular players. And, you know, as those time zones switched over, I'm glad I had mods on the other side because I was running 24-hour days. Thousands of players coming in. And this is us having all those plugins set into place, so we don't have to take care of things manually anymore. I had a mod team I could depend on, which we're still kind of split distance between most of them starting out being in Poland and then here in the U.S. And we had just too many players. Like, remember I said there was a 50-player server. Like, all these guys were getting in. So that meme earlier, it's like, server is full. Let me in! Let me in! So we had to see. Look at this. This just skyrocketed. A lot of the Brazilian players just kind of swarmed in because Pork and BR essentially set up shop in the server. Like, that's where he was streaming for most of the time now. So we had to set up 2 more servers. We added MC2 for PvP because people wanted some PvP stuff. Early on, it wasn't exactly the best run server. It wasn't moderated very well either. And after a while, we moved it over to our stack and got it into a decent place. And then we added MC3. MC3 was purely for Portuguese-speaking players. And then that server was full most of the time. So it was hard to get in. We eventually had to get some balance going, but we're still sitting at 3 servers. So now here's what our network is looking at. Like I told you, I'm an infrastructure guy. I had to go and get this working. Had our internet, had our firewall, and then I had our Minecraft servers. Those are the standards. But now we moved bungee cord and any sort of HA proxy we needed to use over into the DMZ, because that's what you want to do. If it's public facing, you pop it into the DMZ. So now we can proxy traffic through here. It's not just one bungee cord server. Now we're balancing between 2 of them, and they're using a Redis cache to read the databases. Read a database in between each other so they can share information. So then we've got our databases. We've got our management network, because now we're spinning up a whole like 20-something boxes. We need a panel so we can manage these Minecraft servers a lot easier. And then I can allow admins access to this network via a VPN in order to like access these panels. And then free IPA. Think of for those of you who don't know what free IPA is, think of it as like Windows Active Directory, but Linux based. It has a Kerberos, it has LDAP. So now we can centralize auth for access to these servers via here. And then lately we've spun up a bunch of other games. We have a Rust server going. We also have a TF2 server but people barely play on because, I mean, I don't have a TF2 admin. Like, I just kind of spin it up and let it go. And I'm not.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sure he is as well again. There we are. Hang on 1 second, McL0v1n, I'll get you. Oh.
There we go.
All right, perfect. Let me put you on air. There we are. You should be good. You're muted right now.
There.
Back to muted.
There we go. All right.
It keeps muting you. Are you trying to make it fun off?
Is that better?
It keeps muting you for some reason. So, but
are we good now?
Now that you're good, it seems good. Yeah.
I think we were fighting back and forth with the unmute.
Yeah, it could be. So, we're getting close to time here.
Yeah. All right. So we had a bunch of servers, and now we're like everything's in its own VLAN, and these are standard firewall rules. Only specific traffic to specific boxes, to specific servers. That way we can prop things through here. Another thing, we actually had the Pope on the server at one point. Padre grabbed him in, said, "Hey, look, here's the people who are playing on the server," and I had to screenshot. Everything changed, or like we had to upload this to slides. He pretty much said, "God bless this mine server." So you know, because he speaks Italian and Spanish, like it was pretty cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we're sitting at. Any questions?
There we go. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions here. We just have a couple minutes that we can do that before we get to.
Sorry, the disconnect's really cutting the time.
All right. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and raise your hand. I see Skylar has a question. Here you go, Skylar.
Hey, quick question. Which host did you use, or was it custom?
Oh no, these are all. Yeah, these are all currently local boxes I run on a cloud in San Diego. I'm in San Diego, so we all run these in a stack here. Right now we're using OpenStack with a bunch of Supermicro boxes. We've got the backbone is 40 gigabit by 2, so bonded. So 2 40 gigabit connections that are bonded together. But then the downstream is just a gigabit stream. We didn't really have much of a preference there. But yeah, but no, we're running it ourselves now. We're custom boxes. We're not on shared hosts or anything.
All right. Anybody else have a question? All right. Leah has a question. I'm going to take her question real quick. All right, Leah.
I don't have so much a question as I do a comment. I let my 11-year-old watch this because of his love for Minecraft, and he informed me he knew exactly what you were talking about, and I probably didn't. So thank you.
Of course, no problem.
All right. All right, everybody, give some love, throw some emojis out there. Great job, McL0v1n.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you around. I'll be around for all the parties and after and stuff. I'll probably swap to the Quest though, because I'm clearly having issues with my computer right now. I'm on a RIP desk for all of those that are asking. This isn't my normal setup. I have an external GPU box, but now I'm upstairs because the dog is barking.